Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
The midfield now. Shot down the field. It's McMillan. He got it. No, picked off by Lewis. Lewis fought him for it and took it away. Jordan Lewis, the interception.
Third down and 10. Howell scanning the field, throwing over the middle. It's caught at the 5th hole. De'Ami Brown. He'll take it to the house for the touchdown.
Cousins wide open. Touchdown Vikings. Johnny Munt.
Mullins. Nobody open at first. Keeps it alive. Nick Mullins lets it go. Touchdown. Harrison Bryant.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Nobody happier today than one Dylan Denmark, Tony Smith, as we broadcast live from the Players, day 2 of the practice rounds. Tomorrow the tournament gets underway in all seriousness, but with the Jags not signing anyone else yesterday, Dylan did not need to edit the open to today's program.
No, I noticed listening to it here the second time, either all the highlights were the players that we are focusing on making these plays in their home stadiums, or every stadium in the league can stop complaining about visiting fans being in there, because those were all loud reactions to players that the Jags are bringing in making a play.
Yeah, or Dylan used a little AI and boosted up the crowd noise.
No, I just typed in YouTube and just said such and such highlight. Boom. There you go.
Man, I don't know if it exists, but if you could have found Nick Mullins to Johnny Munt for 6, that would have been
sweet.
Like straight injection into the teal veins of ours.
Let's
around
hope we can
parts.
only see that like the early second half of some preseason game, please.
Right, or mop-up duty, like when we're up 49-3, Tone. You know what? I don't have any problem putting it on somebody.
No significant moments.
They were still throwing into the end zone up 49-3. Sure, why not? All right, yeah, I'm with you, though, right? Nick Mullins, nice guy. You know, much like C.J. Beathard, Mac Jones. I got nothing against any of you. Don't want to see you.
Yeah, I don't want to watch you play.
You can be a preseason hero, and that will be fantastic. So welcome in, everybody. I don't know if they could have improved on yesterday's weather, so they said, let's just run it back, right? We'll give you the exact same weather. I think it's supposed to be like 2 degrees warmer at the high today, but still like 73 according to my Alexa, you know, which I count on for everything. Honest to goodness. The other day, this started talking to me, out of the blue.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't speak its name. I didn't summon it. It just started talking to me, and it kind of freaked me out. Like I was
bored.
I was on the phone. So I don't know. I
knew you were there, and it's like, why haven't you talked to me?
Stop, you demon! You know, I don't need to. You know, they're listening to you the whole time.
Oh yeah.
You know, they're always listening to you. You know, are you one of those guys that covers up his camera on his computer?
Not really.
A lot of people think that, you know, you would assume the light would go on either way, and you'd notice if the camera were on. But
I'm only on it for the, half an hour or whatever I'm doing for, news the next day. Like I usually put that together yesterday afternoon or whatever, and that's the only time I'm on the computer. But no, I don't cover the camera on my phone either, and I'm sure they can do that too.
Jags gave you the day off yesterday, right? In terms of gathering news, which, so be it, right?
Gathering Jaguars news,
I mean, they went out and they did what they're going to do, at least the majority of it. I would have loved to have seen them go after Leonard Floyd, who's, just good for 8+ sacks a year, every year. I did not realize this. You see this note? He signed with the Atlanta Falcons. He had 8.5 sacks last year, which would have been the most by an Atlanta Falcon since when? What year?
2020?
2017.
Wow.
Somebody had 9 for them in 2017. That's crazy.
Was it Abraham?
Right? No, it wasn't. It was
that far back?
I don't know if Abraham was still there at that time.
Like that's the guy that I was thinking John Abraham in my head.
It wasn't him. I'll dig it up here in a second because I know the article that it was in. But regardless, that's where we're at. I could absolutely use a third pass rusher on this team, and I think it really got highlighted as we're doing our mock drafts for today, which, by the way, feel free to send yours along if you are going to take the time to do one. You can do a daily free one for 3 rounds at PFF. You can do a 10 of them a day if you want to at ProFootballNetwork.com. which is where we've been going because we've been trying to do those 7-round mocks.
Yeah.
But, what we've done for the last 3 or 4 weeks is try to approach that, okay, Jags found a starter in free agency. Well, now we kind of know the majority of the heavy lifting that's going to get done in free agency.
Yeah.
They still have cap space. They still could make moves. Maybe they're going to be a little bit more reflective now and see if the market settles down at a couple of spots that they're interested in. Hard to know exactly what they're thinking right now. But I just kind of went into this thinking, okay, they have plugged some spots. But other than 1 or 2, I don't feel like it takes anything off the board for me early in the draft. I'm still trying to take, kind of a best player available approach with still – maybe I'm not going as crazy heavy because some of my mocks I've done like 3 offensive linemen. Mm-hmm. That may be a little bit of overkill. We talked about just the numbers yesterday.
Yeah.
Who's going to make this team? If they bring Cole Van Lanen back, which they tendered him at a 6th-round price tag, if somebody wants to go sign him, maybe they're anticipating somebody coming along and signing him. But, they've signed 3 offensive linemen. They've got potential 2 swing tackles on the roster if you consider Javon Foster a potential swing tackle. And Cole Van Lanen would fit that category as well. But it's going to be a game of musical chairs to some degree for these offensive linemen. If they go out and draft 2 or 3 of them, they're not all going to start right away, that's for sure.
No, you could still – and I had a lot of familiar names to the conversation, especially in the first couple of rounds, to guys that we've had connected to Jacksonville throughout the last several weeks when we've been doing this. That didn't really change my thought process at that point. I as we talked about yesterday, reacting to what they did there on the first day of tampering in the National Football League, all those guys will be signing later on this afternoon. But it got me in the mindset of best available player. And I think especially in the first couple of picks, they don't have any needs that are glaring enough that they have to address this in the draft, or they're just not going to have players that can play that position. They're not in that kind of spot. I agree with you. It's not like you have to go into the draft and say, well, they have to take 3 offensive linemen. They have to. How can they not, right, with the needs they had on the roster? Well, they're not there, not in the same kind of way anymore. I still wound up taking a couple of offensive linemen, but one was super late, like 6th round. Is where I took the 2nd offensive lineman off the board. And I do think they've put themselves in more that kind of position than they were 2 days ago.
Yeah, I took a second one in the 7th, I think, with the very last pick. And it was more of an occasion of, probably a practice squad guy, whoever you take with pick 223. Yeah. It's a lot of picks, right? They have a lot of picks right now, and they could accumulate more by trading back. They could also package them together. As James Gladstone said, it's the time frame now, like a week ago, like yesterday. It feels like, you just got here. I said, we have this many picks for now. And some people interpreted that as, we're going to trade back. We're going to keep adding more picks. Well, at a certain point, you can only have so many rookies on your team. There's only so much space on your 53-man roster. Yeah. So it could be that. I think he's just talking about the desire to be flexible. And if the opportunity arises, they'll be aggressive. They'll try to move up and get a guy. And if the opportunity's not there and the talent level's kind of flat for a while, sure, you got to consider moves backs and taking more swings at the prize because no matter how hopeful we are, they're not all going to work out, no matter who's your GM.
No. We are in that silly season. It's whatever moves all these teams make, and I think we're trying to be as even-keeled about it as we can be. I don't know how you can watch what the Jaguars did so far this week and be super pumped about these guys that are coming in, right? You can understand the thought process, the expressed purpose for what they're doing, right? I can understand all of those things. As we talked about on the show, I am happy that they would express the direction they wanted to go with all this, and they're committed to it. And the actions that they're taking continue to go in the direction that they said they were going to be committed to. I'm in favor of that. Right, from the football team, it means that they're not going to be splashy with any of the moves that they were going to make, and I wasn't expecting them to be going into free agency. I thought that there was the potential that maybe they splash with one guy if they really like one guy at a specific position. But even with that, you've seen the 3 linemen they brought in. None of them are going to move the needle all that much for a casual fan of the National Football League. I'm excited to see what the guys that they've added on the offensive line are going to look like. I am excited to see what exactly that's going to look like for the football team, but there's nothing to really get you jammed, about what they did in free agency to this point. But that's okay. I don't have to be all that excited about what happened in free agency for it to be the right move at this point in the process for the football team. But all of that, you can't know. Until they get these guys on the field and we see what their actual impact is for the 2025 Jacksonville Jaguars, we can't know. And for fans that want to be super over the moon excited about it, good for you. And I'm not trying to talk you off that either. But for those that are going to freak out that they haven't done this yet because I wanted this guy and he got paid this much and we could have afforded to do that move, I can't join you in that kind of process either at this point.
No, I'm not going to go on the extreme on either side, but that doesn't mean either side's not right?
No,
I mean, the people going, oh, my gosh, we spent all this money on what exactly? Raising the floor is great, but we're plugging some of these guys into the starting lineup. But when you consider that you had complete holes at a couple of spots, particularly on the offensive line, I mean, they've done what they've done in their methodical process here. And we'll see if that changes today, if they add anything to the tally of the 9 players that they agreed to terms with, which I presume all will follow through on their commitment to sign here by 4 o'clock. It does occasionally happen, but it's pretty rare when an agreement goes by the wayside. But it's not official until 4 o'clock. Here it is. The Falcons, who, by the way, got an A+ for their signing of Leonard Floyd. And CBS said it may be the best signing of free agency so far. 1 year, $10 million for Leonard Floyd, who is always cranking out 8+ sack seasons, 8.5 sacks at least in each of the last 5 years, averaging 9.6 in that span while not missing a single game since 2017. Sounds to me like an ideal third pass rusher. Now, Leonard Floyd may have visions of a larger role and may have that available in Atlanta. It was Adrian Claiborne, who had 9 sacks in 2017, was the last guy to have as many as 8.5 for the Atlanta Falcons. So at least we've got better than that going for us here in the city of Jacksonville.
We had a guy double that up not that long ago.
Right, exactly. So anyway, I thought that was that was a name that as soon as he's out there, you're like, okay, that's the kind of guy. Ideally, yeah. Right? Now, look, if they can go in the draft, and I've got them picking an edge rusher. I've had them taking at least one edge rusher in every one of these mocks that we've done. I have no issue with that either if they want to go that route, but I think it is something that absolutely has to be addressed. But again, they've got 10 picks. Boy, defensive tackle is deep. It could every time I take one, Tone, I keep going, I could have waited another round, I feel like, with some of the guys that are hanging out there. So I will tell you this, I did not go with Mason Graham, even though I had the option to in today's mock. So we'll take a gander at those a little bit later on. Today's question of the day that we threw out there on social media, you can answer it in a number of different ways, a number of different avenues to take to give us your answer to this. But officially, after agreeing to terms with 9 players during the first 2 days of free agency, what do you think are the current top 3 needs for the Jacksonville Jaguars? Again, this doesn't mean, I think safety is still a big need for this football team. That doesn't mean I move it up to a first or second round selection necessarily, right? I mean, there are certain positions that you consider to be more premium positions and harder to fill. But I think safety is still a big need for this football team. So let us know what you think those 3 are as it currently sits, assuming all 9 of those players the Jags agreed to terms with ultimately ink their deals later on today when the league year starts in about 6 hours. By the way, all hail, nod your head, it is 10:10 in the morning right now as I just glance down at my clock. You can hit us up today on the phone lines at 641-1010, the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at that same number. Hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat if you'd like. You can do it on the X platform at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark. It has begun. Yeah, I think that's another one you can use multiple days. After tomorrow, I kind of feel like that's probably, after today, that's probably it for that, at least until the draft. I think that's still appropriate. And also, if you want to play along, I don't know, maybe I'll have a little prize pack for somebody. No guarantee. I haven't really made this an official contest, but I tweeted out asking for your top 3 picks to win this year's players. I think everybody, look, I'm going to have Scheffler, I'm going to have Morikawa. That's why I did 3, right? Yeah. Right. I like Oberg is the third guy I'm taking right now. Only played in 2, finished in the top 10 last year, or this will be his second, finishing in the top 10 last year. So you can hit us up with your picks for the players as well, which by this time tomorrow will already be underway. Of course, we knew no Tiger Woods, but the torn Achilles now for Tiger, following the path, Manuel Thalaran path right now. So rehab. I saw some story that said he'll probably miss the Masters. I'm like,
you think?
Probably miss the Masters. I don't think it was a complete rupture of the Achilles.
No, I think he caught it early. I had a weird feeling when I saw the doctor. The doctor said, we'll do this. So who knows when he'll be able to get back, but I doubt it'll be for Augusta.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, wow, that surprised me they even mentioned it. But we saw Gronk out here yesterday as we did departing the course. Gronk drawing a crowd and doing his thing. I guess I'm assuming he's wearing a FanDuel hat, so I'm assuming he's making some FanDuel money.
Yeah, I saw him fooling around on a video over at 17. I did enjoy, there was like a young man in front of me when Gronk was coming through that little area. He's like, I can't sign anymore. He like told somebody that was over there trying to, he's like, this is going to have to be it. I got to get going. And one of the guys that was standing over next to me was like, Mr. Gronk. Mr. Gronk. It just feels weird to call anyone Mr. with a nickname.
Right.
It's
Mr. Fat Tony.
Right. Mr. Gronk.
And did he do one more or
no.
He was tough. He tough guy.
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah, it is. Look, he would probably stand there and sign for every kid that's there, but they've got him on a schedule and they're ready to whisk him away at that point. So who knows who you're going to see out here over the course of the next several days. I would imagine a guy who wears uniform number 16 in Jacksonville will make an appearance as he has in years past. All right, so we've got our mocks ready to roll today, which we'll unveil probably in hour number 2. If you want to send yours along, we'd love to see what those look like, what you're thinking now that you've got a little bit of sense of how some of the holes have been patched, let's say. Not necessarily filled, but at least patched on the Jaguars roster. So we'll get into that as we go along. Mike DeRocco from ESPN going to stop by in about 20 minutes from now, and we're off and rolling live at Sawgrass in the Palm Valley Village. Again, if you know the geography of the course at all, if you're standing behind the 9th green, looking right at the green, just kind of basically turn to your right and walk 50 yards, and off to your right, it will be the Palm Valley Village. We're out here broadcasting, great view of the clubhouse. I'll tweet out a picture of our view, Tony, which is always spectacular out at the players. They take great care of us. They've got refreshments and food options over here as well, so you can stop by, take a load off, enjoy a little picnic bench seating, and maybe even get in out of the sun if you get a little overheated over the next few days. A great little venue, one of just many tucked away out here at the stadium course. All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith here live at Sawgrass, still in Denmark, back at 1010XL World Headquarters. You're listening to Jaguars Today. Keep it right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. On your way out to the players, you know what? Why not grab a quick bite to eat, gas up the car so you don't get stuck on A1A, swing into a gate station, fill up the tank, fill up your belly, head right to the fresh case and look for all the delicious Dandy offerings. The one I go to on Phillips is probably 35-plus items on a daily basis. There's one on Southside the same way. They're all over the place. Just swing in, head right to the fresh case, look for that Dandy or Anytime Deli label. Know that food was made right here in Jacksonville by a Jacksonville-based company that's been around for nearly 70 years on the First Coast. The Thompson family started up Dandy, and all they do is continue to add delicious recipes to the menu. I'm a big fan of the classic tuna salad. You know what? You got to go find yours, because with all those different varieties, you can try something different every day of the month. When you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Dan Hickett.
Something looks wrong. I mean, he's running around like he's on fire.
Oh, my God, help me. I don't want to die. Oh, stop, drop, and roll.
You're not on fire. Dan Hickett.
I'm on fire.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Your hole-in-one for men's health is Ackerman Urology. With offices in Mandarin, Middleburg, World Golf Village, and the beaches, Ackerman will get you on par for any prostate conditions and sexual vitality. Visit AckermanUrology.com.
Are you ready to reclaim your backyard? Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, Surfside Pools is the trusted name for expert pool design. Family owned and operated, they offer pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools transform your backyard into the oasis that you crave. Are you ready to float happy? Visit surfsidepools.net or call 246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, where luxury meets leisure.
License number CPC 044080.
Ahead, we build platforms for digital business. We help create your platform for digital business by weaving together advances in cloud infrastructure, intelligent operations, and modern applications. Digital business is comprised of 5 pillars. We call them imperatives because they're a must-have, not a nice-to-have. We enterprise cloud, integrated security, scaled DevOps, intelligent operations, and relentless automation. Need help with digital transformation? Ahead. Learn, grow, achieve.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
We're giving away free AC inspections to our wonderful customers who now call and schedule. But you must act today. A deal this good won't last forever. Call 904-862-6769. DuckDuckAC.com. Any required repairs are not included in the inspection.
1010XL's running game takes a giant step forward.
Well, Fred Taylor is the whole package.
Fred Taylor joins Dan and Jeff on the drill. Monday morning running back with Fred Taylor is fueled by Epstein and Robbins and Monahan Jewelers.
Hey, this is David with Royal Pest Services. The fact that we've been bundled up the past month gave us an idea. Let's bundle up also with our Centricon and Pest Control bundle, starting at $349. Visit RoyalPestServices.com for your free inspection.
Lots of jewelry stores in the town center, but only one is locally owned, Beard's Diamonds.
We're the only local jewelry store at the town center.
That's Jacksonville's John Lupo, owner of Beard's for over 4 decades.
We're entrenched in Jacksonville, Florida.
In a sea of mega chain jewelers, John says it's easy to stand out because he's not handcuffed by a corporate handbook.
I am not beholden to a corporate structure, so we've got flexibility to do whatever we can and want, and we do.
And that includes lowering prices to undercut them every day.
Quality for quality, color for color, everything the same. We should be able to beat them hands down by minimum 20%. We go overseas ourselves. We know exactly what we're buying. This isn't getting marked up in a corporate structure. We will beat anybody's price anywhere.
So before you buy anything at one of those chains, get a second opinion at locally owned Beard's Diamonds. No corporate atmosphere, no corporate rules, no corporate high markups.
We want you to come shop us and you'll see a lot better price here.
Beard's Diamonds.
Everybody gets a good deal at Beard's.
Gun charges, drug charges. I'm Attorney Malcolm Anthony, and I specialize in handling these types of felony cases. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me at 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW.
Baseball is back. Don't miss this year's Florida State baseball game, Tuesday, March 25th at VyStar Ballpark at 6 p.m. This can't-miss event sells out quickly, so buy your tickets today to get the best seats possible. It's Florida State on the diamond at VyStar Ballpark, Tuesday, March 25th. Get your tickets at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. We'll see you at the ballpark.
Thinning or balding hair? Introducing scalp micropigmentation now at IHRS. SMP is a procedure for men and women, looks like your own growing hair, and corrects thinning areas. SMP is perfect for men and women who shave their head and want a full head of hair look. Call IHRS now, 904-777-IHRS, 904-777-4477, or visit hairforme.com today.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, we are on Jag Watch as we always are. I don't know, Tony. I kind of probably anticipate another quiet day unless,
Probably.
Again, I'm not stumping for it. I don't even think it's more likely than not. But I do leave open the possibility that the Jags are waiting to see if Cooper Kupp gets released and what that price tag would be. Although they spent $10 million on Diami Brown, and you look at some of the contracts given out, like, I don't know. We'll see. I think Bill Barnwell, who absolutely torched the Jags in his piece at ESPN. Did you see it? That came out yesterday.
I heard about it. I haven't read it.
Well, I think He made a good point on a couple of guys. Like, Jordan Lewis went from getting a 1-year, $2.8 million contract last year to 3 years north of 30 here in Jacksonville. What made him that much better at a year older when that was his market last time around? You look at Diami Brown. Let's say Diami Brown does play like a $10 million player this year. Mm-hmm. Well, then he walks, right? And so his contention was you should have at least had kind of a non-guaranteed year on the back end.
Sure.
That at least would protect you in that case. Hey, we'll find out. There are people that think the Jags are just, as we said, raising the floor, and every move they make is going to be fantastic. We had about 5% of the people yesterday, maybe a little less than that, say that they were so excited about the way things worked out for the Jags. In fact, our final poll numbers on this yesterday, 4.1% said they were so excited, but about 70% are basically pretty content with what went down. 26% said the Jags signed a pile of middling players, and 3.6% said so disappointed. Just snuck in over. Actually, got about 4 minutes left on that poll, but just over 1,000 votes on that one that closed it out. So we shall see. But one guy that they did strike quickly on, obviously, was Jordan Lewis, going right out there and making him their top priority, at least their first, seemingly their first call, at least their first connection that they made. And yesterday, XL Primetime was on, and Dave Campo's got a good relationship with the Cowboys. Mike Zimmer's been their defensive coordinator the last couple of years, appeared on XL Primetime in part, obviously, to talk about Lewis and what he brings to the table. So let's listen to what he had to say. By the way, Mike DeRocco coming up in about 10 minutes to give his overview on where the Jags stand heading into the official start of the league year, coming up at 4 o'clock. But here was Zimmer yesterday talking about Lewis being a tough competitor.
I used to call him Pitbull because he's gonna sit in there and fight all day long. He's a tough competitor. He's not real big physically, size-wise, but he thinks he's bigger than anybody. And, I'd tell him, trying to get him out of the run fit, and he'd tell me, no, I want to be in there with the big guys. So he's a good ball skills. He's got good range, very smart, and very tough, and he typically will not miss games.
Did you see, I think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, that clip going around talking about him, basically like this, and somebody titled it like Amon-Ra talks about the guy that gives him the most problems or hates to go against. He didn't say any of that.
No.
He just said that he runs his mouth nonstop. Yeah. He and Jarian,
he's a yapper.
He and Jarian are going to have a lot of fun doing that. But in terms of toughness and competitiveness, I mean, that's all part of the intangibly rich that this team is looking for, right? They want guys that live, breathe, and eat football as much as possible. What do we got else from Mike Zimmer?
Also a couple more here from Coach Zimmer, who also said that, look, he's a savvy guy. He's a veteran who's been around the league for a while now, and as would be indicated by the stats that we've already heard talked about with him from the moment he walked in the door, he has tended to play better when he's been inside as opposed to outside at corner.
He's a savvy veteran that, he's going to put his arm around, going to take his arm and, hook the waist of the slot receiver sometimes if he has to. He thinks he's way bigger and way faster than he is. So I think you're going to get a really good player. I know Dallas really wanted to keep him. He can do a lot of things for you. He went out, we had a bunch of corners for last year. He went out and played on the outside some, but he's probably a better inside player.
Yeah, all fine with the savvy moves, and, he's talking about hooking a guy. In other words, grabbing a little and knowing when you can get away with it.
Yeah.
He thinks he's bigger and faster than he is. I'd like him to actually be bigger and faster roster, because in the end you can think whatever you want, and you still got to stay with the guy with the 4.3 speed on occasion. But one more from Mike Zimmer yesterday. Again, he was Jordan Lewis's defensive coordinator last couple of years, said he can be an important player for this Jaguar organization and thinks overall he'll be a great addition.
I think he can be really important. We played in the beginning of the year, we played a lot more base defense with some of the 21 personnel and 12, and then halfway through the year, we really started getting into the nickel subgroups, and he loved it. I mean, he loved being in there with big guys. He loved doing a good job in the running game, taking on blockers. He's really tough. He made an unbelievable interception against Tampa Bay, I believe it was, where him and I can't remember who the receiver was, but they went up in the end zone, and he took it away from the guy. So you can say this guy's a true competitor, and he's a great person in the locker room. He's not afraid to say what he thinks, and I think he's going to be a great addition for your team.
Well, let's hope so, right? I mean, look, your nickel corner's not your most important player on your football team, but everybody's important if they're not doing their job properly.
Yeah, I think it's, going back to the comment about thinks he's bigger, faster, than he actually is. I think that's almost a requirement in the NFL when you're playing one of the lonely positions in the NFL, right? When you're playing in a lot of space, wide receiver, corner, that kind of thing, odds are, look, there's only going to be one guy on the field in any given game at any given time that is actually going to be the fastest guy on the field. There's only one of those, right? There may be a bunch of guys that are close to it, but there's only one guy that's going to be the fastest. I think part of what you need to compete at the highest level in the NFL is when something bad happens on the field, the thing that happens in your head is, this is what I learned from that. This is why he won't get me again. He can't get me again. I'm too big. I'm too fast. I'm too strong. That ain't happening again. I think you have to have that mentality to achieve whatever the peak is going to be for you at whatever you're doing in the NFL. I think that is a requirement, which is why when the GM talks about the intangibles, I don't think any of that stuff is new. But when you're bringing in a guy like this and you have coaches that have been around him saying this is exactly who he is, right? When the GM is saying this is what we're looking for as we're going to be raising the floor of this roster, and you bring in a guy to play the corner position that's playing a spot where we thought they already had that filled with Jari and Jones. And part of the explanation, I think, is the word on him is this, right? It's all the intangible stuff beyond the fact that he is a really good slot player. But I think if you're going to play in space in the NFL, you have to believe you can't be beat.
Well, I'm sure that you've got to have some of that, just irrational confidence.
I don't know how else you do it.
Right. I mean, because you're in the spotlight. You're taking on some of the best athletes in the world on a down-in, down-out basis. Speaking of Jari Jones, Cameron Wolf of NFL Network talked yesterday about what the Jags are doing in the process with James Gladstone and indicated that he thinks this is clear sign that Jari Jones is moving outside. I can't read it any other way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense to me for a team that wants to build through the draft. You've got a good young talent that even though you didn't make the pick, the team invested a third-round selection. Nobody's looking at it and saying, oh, that was a wasted pick.
He played well last year.
Right, he played well and flashed, so I think it's obviously, overwhelmingly more likely to think that, okay, we just see something in him with his length that we think he can play outside, in addition to playing in a slot. And as we talked about yesterday, we could spend $20 or $22 million a year on an outside guy to pair with Jari, or we can spend $10 a year for a guy that we think is going to lock down the nickel position, and we think Jarian can grow in that role. Doesn't mean, by the way, they won't be drafting corner in this draft.
No.
And I've got at least one in my mock today as well. We'll get to those in hour two. D-Rock on the way, right around the corner from ESPN. He is manning the phones and trying to figure out what the Jags are going to do or if we're going to have a quiet next 5.5 hours before the league year opens later on today. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith live at Sawgrass. For the players, Dylan Denmark back at World Head. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. One thing you can definitely do out at the players, get your steps in. But the beauty of it is with Awaken 180 Weight Loss, it's not required. You don't have any kind of exercise regimen that you need to check all the boxes for or any medications or injections that you have to take. And read the fine print on some of that stuff. They're on TV all the time, right? They say as soon as you go off, you're likely to put all the weight right back on. That's the key with Awaken 180. Over the years, they've given you real results and, most importantly, lasting results because free support for life was and still is the backbone of the Awaken 180 program. Over 24,000 clients now over a decade plus have lost a combined 750,000 plus pounds, and along the way been able to maintain that with the support of Awaken 180 and eliminating the need for a lot of medications, feeling healthier, feel better about yourself when you look in the mirror, people compliment you. There's so many benefits to Awaken 180 weight loss. What are you waiting for? Go online, schedule your free consultation at awaken180weightloss.com and get that new you going with Awaken 180.
Jaguars Today.
For the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. They say every town has a story. Here's the deal.
Jags on 3.
It's black and teal.
1, 2, 3, Jags.
1010XL.
This is the Mangler. Years of playing football coupled with lifestyle left my feet mangled with neuropathy. I was experiencing burning, tingling, and numbness. I spoke with 2 foot specialists, and they told me there was no cure. They were wrong. I found Dr. Nate Riddle in Ponte Vedra. After utilizing his neuropathy treatment for only 2 weeks, I noticed a difference in my feet. I was regaining my feeling and balance. If you want relief from nerve pain, call Dr. Nate for a free consultation at Riddle Wellness, 904-395-5598.
Here's Linda Beaver.
At Beaver Chevrolet, we believe your experience should be more than just buying a car. It should be a lifetime of confidence, care, and trust. That's why we're proud to offer lifetime warranties and lifetime customer service. At Beaver Chevrolet, we're not just here to sell you a car. We're here to establish a lifelong relationship that you can always count on. It's simple. You deserve the best and shouldn't settle for less. Visit Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville, where we're ready to give you a peace of mind for a lifetime.
Spring is in the air. Time to wake up your lawn with Heroes Lawn Care. Say goodbye to pesky mosquitoes with their organic and spray treatments. Perfect for outdoor fun. Keep your lawn clean and fresh with their pet waste removal for homes and businesses. Heroes Lawn Care takes care of it all, from mowing, edging, fertilizer to irrigation and much more. Visit heroeslawncare.com.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
If you've been in an auto accident, you can count on the experts at San Jose Collision to return your vehicle to pre-accident conditions. San Jose Collision can also provide a fresh paint job to freshen up your vehicle or completely change its appearance. They can paint and repair all foreign and domestic cars and trucks. When quality and professionalism are important to you, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Good teachers and coaches get the most out of their scholar athletes. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists
and the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show.
Prosser here. No matter what you do, man, you love consistency. And when it comes to selling your home for Chad and Sandy, good times are bad. They're there to help you, and you're going to get the most that you can. The economy actually showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want, and it's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who are there for you. My agents, Chad and Sandy Newen. Maybe you need more space with a growing family or working from home. Whatever your reasons, Chad and Sandy come through for you as the local real estate experts I trust and recommend. Chad and Sandy, in fact, will guarantee you this. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. John and Ursula in Green Meadows said, I was not in great health, so we decided to downside to an easier place to manage. First, we needed to sell our Green Meadows home fast. Unfortunately, after 185 days, our home failed to sell. With another realtor, we made the switch, though, to Chad and Sandy. Sold it in 12 days. You can, too. Go to chadandsandy.com or call 414-6200.
Did you know your pup could take 30,000 to 60,000 steps a day at Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard? That's a whole lot of tail-wagging fun with their best furry friends. At Dogtopia, they turn playtime into exercise, learning, and socialization in their off-leash, open play environment. Dogs build confidence, reduce anxiety, and stay happy in the healthy, all while having the time of their lives. Visit Dogtopia of Jacksonville Beach Boulevard today.
It's time to keep the party going. All parrot heads unite once again with Jimmy Buffett's Coral Reefer Band. It's 5 o'clock live in Jacksonville. Wasted away again. Daly's Place, Saturday, March 15th. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Let's keep the party going with a tribute to Jimmy Buffett featuring the Coral Reefer Band. One night only, Saturday, March 15th, Daly's Place.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Need the perfect spot to unwind with friends, family, or coworkers? Dart Bar on King Street. Darts, pool, air hockey, foosball, and more. Dart Bar has the games to keep the fun rolling, with 20 taps, 200 plus cans, and plenty of non-alcoholic options. Dart Bar has something for everyone. Plus, they host community events and leagues and can accommodate everything from company happy hours to milestone birthdays. Dart Bar is your go-to place for fun, drinks, and great times, no matter the occasion.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
Yeah, this amuses me. Not D-Rock. D-Rock is very serious, and his walk-up music is very important. But I got a guy who the only thing he sends on the text line is how much he hates me and somewhat you as well, which is surprising because nobody hates you.
That's all good.
But really hates me and hates you by association, probably. But it's like, bro, I know that you listen every day because you reference what we're saying every time you send something in. It's hilarious to me. You know, so
yeah, that kind of hate where you got to make notes of why do I hate this guy?
Yeah, what is it about this guy again? Somebody also on the YouTube chat asked where they can send their mock drafts. You can tweet us at MD_1010XL at 1010XL Fat Tony, or the text line is always a good spot as well at 641-1010. There. Mike DiRocco covers the Jacksonville Jaguars from ESPN. He birdied the 17th hole on Sunday when we were playing together. D-Rock, good morning. How are you?
Well, I amuse you? Am I a clown to you? How
you
am I
are
funny?
not a clown to me, sir.
Tell me how I'm funny.
You're funny because on a day when none of us could hit the ball straight, you actually did sink a birdie putt on 17. So that was good.
It's a Festivus miracle or whatever.
It was a standout moment in a quartet of real hackers on the weekend. All right, so D-Rock, all quiet on the Jaguar front yesterday. Do you anticipate any other moves? Do you think we're just we rushed out, we secured agreements with a bunch of guys that we had targeted, and now we're just waiting for the league year to start?
I think there's a little bit of that, but I also think that they're keeping an eye on some stuff that's, going to happen today. I know Cooper Kupp's a big name, and that's probably a guy that they'll do a little investigation on whenever he gets released. Potentially bring him in here if it's a deal where it's not big money by any stretch of the imagination, because you don't want to commit a whole lot of money to a guy who is hurt and is 3 years older than Christian Kirk, and you just kind of got rid of that guy. So, that's a name that's kind of out there. But, anybody else that they bring in, I think it's just going to be sort of along the same lines as of depth guys, guys that can maybe fill a hole, help out a little on special teams. But the bulk of their work is done.
Do you think they would have been in on Chris Godwin had he not agreed to terms right before the legal tampering window opened up and agreed to go back to Tampa?
Not at that amount of money, because he left apparently a substantial amount of money, according to the reports, on the table with from the Patriots, and they weren't going to outbid the Patriots for him.
Right, which is funny because, like, how does he know what he was going to get from the Patriots? I mean, we all know the answer. I'm asking that, kind of rhetorically.
Sure.
The idea that tampering began at noon yesterday is crazy, right?
Yeah, well, none of it happened at the Combine at all.
Or Monday.
Any point since the Combine or at any point since the season ended last year. All those deals were done in a matter of 6 or 7 minutes across the entire league at 12:06 p.m. on Monday.
A lot of things were obviously addressed, D-Rock, with they're bringing in 9 new players onto the roster. It's the expectation when it opens up this afternoon where they can officially sign these guys. But what holes, when you look at it, do you think have actually been filled on the roster with the 9 guys that they're bringing in?
Well, certainly the interior of the offensive line is better than it was last week with Macari and Hainsey. They had to find 2 solid starters there, and they did. The nickel spot is now pretty much shorn up. It's going to be Lewis. So, you got to feel helpful there or hopeful there. And then the tight ends, Hunter Long and Johnny Munt, I mean, those are not going to be dynamic pass catchers, although Munt, can make some plays down the field. But now you feel much better if you're the Jaguars about, the depth of your tight end room and the ability to roll some guys out there who can block and help in the run game. So, those 3 areas probably the most where you feel a lot better about everything.
How do you think they're going to approach the tight end position this year? Is Brenton Strange going to be the clear leading pass catcher? I think there's still room on this roster for a pass-catching tight end, a rookie to come in, like a Luke Lachey, you might be able to get in the later rounds and, to kind of let him come along at his pace while you've got the guys to do the dirty work. Do you think this is just going to be heavily targeted position for Trevor Lawrence in this offense, or do you think this is more we're bringing in these guys right now? I mean, you're going to have at least 3 tight ends on the roster regardless, but are those guys brought in more with an eye towards helping Trevor Lawrence by helping the running game?
I think a little bit of both. At the Combine, James Gladstone said you're going to see Brenton Strange used in ways that you haven't seen here before, and they're really excited about him. And if you look at, what happened in Tampa Bay, obviously, you had Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Now Godwin missed, 10 games with the injury, but he still caught 50 balls in the 7 that he played. But the second leading receiver was K-Dot, the tight end down there. But when you go down and you look after that, the Bucs really didn't throw the ball to the tight end very much after that. Right. Payne Durham had 11 catches, and I think somebody else, there's one more, had like 5 or 6. So I think that it will be pretty much Brenton Strange as the main pass-catching option there. But, we've heard the Jags people here talk about how good of a blocker Brenton Strange is, especially out there on the edge in space. So, there will be a lot more asks of the tight end in the running game this year than I think there were last year.
They certainly could have afforded to spend double, basically, what they did if they wanted to bring in a starting safety, what they wound up spending on Eric Murray. What is your reaction to the plan at safety being put in place the way that it has to this point?
Had to get somebody. Had to get a starter there. That was bad last year. The 2 safeties were not good last year, and they had to come away with one. And is Eric Murray a game changer? No. Is he going to be where he's supposed to be most of the time, almost all of the time? Yeah, and that's more important than anything else when it comes to the 2 safeties back there. 23 pass plays of 30 yards or more given up, and I know that that's not all on the safeties, but, I mean, we talked about it every week. Coverage bust. That was Andre Sisco's biggest issue, coverage bust. Same with Antonio Johnson. They had to fix something there, and Murray is a solid player, and now you kind of feel good about at least one starter there, and now you can kind of mix and match. Is Darnell Savage going to be a starter there now? Andrew Wingard, where do they go in the draft at safety? But they had to come away out of free agency with somebody that they could put back there and feel okay with.
Dear, I think you have to, if you don't want to drive yourself crazy, you have to think that, okay, I trust that they have a vision. They know what they want their players to look like, in terms of the intangibly rich that we've heard a lot about, but also, how they fit into Liam Cohen's offense or Anthony Campanile's defense. But I'm looking at a free agent safety list. It's just safeties alone. Eric Murray was ranked the 40th highest available safety in free agency. Like, I don't think he's been that good of a player, quite frankly, for the Texans. I'm guessing a guy like that, they see some qualities that they think fit particularly well with what they're going to try to do.
Yeah, without question. They did not want to go spend a ton of money in this free agency here on one guy. That was also their I don't want to say it was a mandate, but that was their plan. They wanted to be pretty reasonable with what they spent because they wanted to bring up the bottom end of the roster, and that's what you have to do in free agency if you're a really good franchise and you're building through the draft, is you fill some holes here and there. Now, they're still behind a little bit because obviously they had to go get 2 starters in the middle of the offensive line. But, yeah, they did not want to spend a bunch of money, and, when you're not committed to spending a ton of money on guys, then you're picking from a different tier than the rest of the league is, for sure. But they weren't going to go after Javon Holland and spend that kind of money. So that's it's not a surprise. The level of players that they brought in, I was not surprised by. The fact that they brought in 9 on the first day, that was the surprise to me.
Most of these contracts were 2- and 3-year deals that they're bringing these guys in on, all except De'Ami Brown at wide receiver. What is the reasoning behind just a 1-year, $10 million deal for him?
A little bit of a prove-it deal and get a look at what he can do on the outside and be the complement to Brian Thomas Jr. It's a lot like what they dealt with Evan Ingram when he came in on a 1-year sort of prove-it deal. Look, we all kind of expect this team to go ahead and draft another wide receiver in the upper part of the draft, whether that's second round, first round, whatever, because they have to address that spot. But it also clears some money off their books if it doesn't really work out. They're not married to anybody. If you look at a lot of these contracts that they did, Macari, for example, they can get out of it. It's a 3-year deal, but they can get out of it in 2027 with minimal dead money. I think it's $3 million and save like $13 million in dead money. Or $13 million against the cap, excuse me. So they did a lot of the contracts like that. And with Brown, if it doesn't work out, great, you move on. But you would hope, if you're the Jaguars, that the guy we draft this year will be ready to kind of take over as that outside number 2 guy in 2026.
Aha. D-Rock says we will draft an outside wide receiver that will be ascending by 2026. The reason I frame it like that is because we're asking today that, looking at the 9 players they agreed to terms with, who are your top 3 needs, or what positions are your top 3 needs right now? I'm not saying like that they won't draft guard, but I feel like Macari's going to come in and he's going to play guard, and there's not that immediate need. So how much, if at all, did what they did or what they've agreed to this point impact your thoughts on what they're going to do in April's NFL draft?
Well, they didn't touch the defensive line, which we all know was an issue last year. And I know Eric Armstead moving inside changes a little bit of that, but they didn't touch that. And they didn't go get an outside corner. And I know that everybody's, look, Lewis is going to play nickel. That doesn't automatically mean Jarian Jones is the starter on the outside. There's going to be some competition there. So I would expect them to go get another corner as well on the outside to see if they can create a little bit more competition and push Jarian Jones a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, I would expect defensive line to be a high priority as well. Edge rusher, that includes edge rusher. If Mason Graham's there at 5, at this point, I still think that would be the guy that they take. But, they've got to deal with that third edge rusher that they don't have at this point and find somebody that can give them something out there on the edge.
D-Rock, we've had the opportunity to talk to you after you've had the chance here in the last several weeks to talk to the new GM, the new head coach over the course of this time. What is your reaction to the job that they're doing now, especially Gladstone with him being on the job in this capacity for the first time?
They stuck to their guns and their plan. When they cleared a little bit, a pretty good amount of cap space with the release of with trading Kirk and the release of Evan Ingram there. So they could have jumped in and gone on a little bit of a mini spending spree, and they didn't. So they stuck to their plan, which, that's encouraging, as long as the plan turns out to be a good plan. But, you also, there's a temptation to go ahead and spend the money if you have it. I think we all know that. And sticking to the plan that they came up with is, that's if it's going to work, they've got to start from ground zero, not meaning rebuilding the roster, but ground zero in terms of where they are, evaluating what they have, realizing it's probably not, a very long rebuild, but also realizing that it's probably going to be tough to be an AFC contender in 2025, probably could be competitive for the playoffs in 2025 in December, which is really what you want, and then just take the next incremental step there. So I don't know if the plan's going to work, but I like the fact that they didn't deviate.
All right, Mike DiRocco, we don't deviate from D-Rock. He's one of the best out there covering your Jaguars for ESPN. So, D-Rock, great job on all the breaking updates on Monday, and we didn't see as many of those yesterday. So we'll see what today brings, but we encourage folks to give you a follow on X or Twitter at ESPN DiRocco, and frequently here with us on Jaguars Today. Have a good rest of the day, D-Rock. I do hope I don't know if busy is the right word, but I hope we get some new something today to get a little bit excited about. So we'll see how it plays out, but thanks for your time as always, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys.
All right, man. There he goes, Mike DiRocco of ESPN fame, Tona. And we're asking today, our question of the day, what are the three biggest needs that you currently see for the Jacksonville Jaguars on this roster? When we come back, let's go around the league. Then let's give those needs out. And then the 10 minutes after that, we'll roll through our mock drafts and see how that was reflected in some of our selections for this week. Players Championship Week, by the way, live out at Sawgrass. Just a beautiful view of the clubhouse is where we're posting up this morning, and all week long we'll be out here, myself and Tony. I know we're going to have some different broadcasts, not our show, but others spread out throughout the grounds here, so definitely stop by, say hello, talk a little Jaguar football. You're listening to Jaguars Today, live at the Players on 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today. From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. There's a reason why people love to listen to play-by-play on the radio.
This is unbelievable what we're witnessing. I'm serious.
1010XL, Jacksonville's home for play-by-play.
Jags fans, here's your chance to score a trip to Green Bay for round one of draft night. Through the Everbank Draft Night Experience Sweepstakes, one lucky winner and a guest will be there live and in person to see the Jaguars make their first pick. To enter, visit everbank.com/draft by April 4th. That's everbank.com/draft. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry period from 3/3/25 to 4/4/25. For official rules, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/draft. Sponsored and administrator, Everbank N.A.
Need fresh and flavorful lunch? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad in every bite. It's quick and delicious, so why wait? Come taste the best chicken salad today at Town Center, Durbin Park, or Butler Point at Chicken Salad Chick.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Want to grow your hair back?
IHRS right here in Jacksonville is the only hair transplant clinic in the country that offers multi-unit hair grafting, FUE Neograft hair transplants, and the 45-minute effective PRP treatments.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
Thank you, IHRS. IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Schedule a free evaluation and find out how to grow your hair back and keep the hair you have. Call 904-777-IHRS. Take the first step to restoring your hair today. Visit hairforme.com.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
IHRS has been restoring hair for men and women for over 30 years.
Call now for a free in-person or virtual evaluation. 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or visit hair4me.com.
This is Hayes Carline for Kingfish Pest Control. Mosquito season is upon us, but don't let them take over. The secret to a bite-free yard is starting today with Kingfish Pest Control. Their 3-step mosquito defense process stops them before they can spread. Eliminate breeding areas, build a protective barrier around your yard, and monthly treatments to keep them away all season long. The earlier you start, the fewer mosquitoes you'll have to fight. Don't let those suckers ruin your outdoor fun. Call Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Awaken 180 weight loss.
Jaguars Today, Wednesday.
New year, new club. This is Joe C., and I'm proud to be a member of Southampton. And with the popularity of golf, getting a tee time is tough. But with membership comes member privileges. Enjoy clubhouse dining, expanded practice area, focusing on all parts of your game. And right now, you can join with an annual commitment and get a $1,000 discount, plus $500 of Pro Shop credit. All the details are online at golfsouthampton.com or call 287-PLAY and make a tee time today at the Golf Club of Southampton.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at amcojacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Hi, I'm Jeff Breyer, president of Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring.
And I'm Nikki Sema. My dad started in business when I was just 4 years old, and now we're 35 years and 20,000 satisfied customers in, and literally have a showroom in every neighborhood.
So whether you're looking to revitalize your home with new flooring or need more outdoor living space with a glass or screen enclosure, we've got you covered.
Visit our websites and don't forget to stop by our showrooms during our open house and cookout this Saturday from 10 to 3. Come see affordable luxury, experience a lifetime difference, and receive additional open house discounts.
Living on Amelia Island, having fun in Bernardino Beach? No matter what brings you to the fun, cozy town, make sure you check out the tap room at Mocama Beer Company. With a full flight of craft creations, from the Cosmico IPA to the Motor, the perfect Pilsners and Lagers, matching memories and some Mocama magic is what it's all about. Mocama Beer Company in Bernardino Beach, near the big water where the sun is born. And look for more Mocama craft at your local Total Wine or ABC Liquors.
The 2025 NFL season is right around the corner, and the Jags are building something special. A fresh team, a new culture, and a stadium that's going to change the game. Be there to witness head coach Liam Cohen and the rest of the coaching crew in action by securing your season tickets today. Become a member to get access to exclusive experiences, VIP events, and more. Visit Jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. We can't wait to see you at the bank this fall.
Hi, I'm Malcolm Anthony. When you've been charged with a crime, you don't have to face it alone. I'm here for you. Stay out of trouble, but if you don't, call me. 285-4LAW. That's 285-4LAW in the 904.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update. The 5th-ranked Florida State Seminoles, who had a perfect 15-0 start to start the season, were knocked off by the 7th-ranked Florida Gators 7-2 in last night's game in Tallahassee. Noles starting pitcher Evan Kress was removed from the game after showing some discomfort in his right arm in the second inning, throwing for just 18 pitches. FSU's head coach Link Jarrett spoke postgame on Kress.
Well, I knew where he was pointing, and that he felt it a couple pitches, and then clearly he was looking at us, and I was curious. I'd never seen that mannerism before. I could tell something was not quite right, and that's tough. Like that, it does take the wind out of your sails, and it's not in any way an excuse for how we played, but there is that quietness that goes over everybody, our fans, our team. It's unfortunate, and I hope it's not a serious thing.
It's 70 degrees at 11:01. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith out here live at the Players. Just tweeted out a picture of our view here, Tony. Honestly, it's the beach is fantastic. These grounds might be the most beautiful thing in Jacksonville. And now I'm a golf lover, so it's easy for me to say that, but I just love walking out here with the rolling fairways and everything just so perfectly manicured. Going to be another great scene. Definitely, you can tell there are already more people out here today than there were yesterday. Military Appreciation Day yesterday, final practice rounds today, and then by this time tomorrow we'll be well into the early morning.
Yes, we will.
Round ones. Why don't we look and find out what other teams are up to and if they're signing players we recognize in free agency.
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Houston is signing defensive lineman Mario Edwards to a 2-year, $9.5 million deal. This is a name you will recognize for sure. Joey Bosa heading to Buffalo on a 1-year, $12.6 million deal. Another name everyone knows, Baltimore is signing wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins to a 1-year, $6 million deal. Leonard Floyd, after being released, was brought on by Atlanta to a 1-year, $10 million deal. Running back Najee Harris is headed to the Chargers on a 1-year deal with $3.75 and a signing bonus, $1.5 million as a base salary and up to $4 million more in incentives there for Harris. Washington is bringing back running back Jerry McNichols on a 1-year deal. Kansas City is signing corner Christian Felton to a 2-year, $20 million deal with $15 million guaranteed. Minnesota is signing defensive tackle Jonathan Allen to a 3-year, $60 million deal. Dallas got a 3-year deal done for $18 million with return specialist and wide receiver Kevontae Turpin. Zay Jones headed back to Arizona on a 1-year deal. New Orleans has reworked the deal of safety Tyrann Mathieu, so they'll be bringing him back next season, as well as Jawan Johnson at tight end for 3 more years at $30.75 million. Atlanta also bringing in linebacker Devon Diablo, 2 years, $14 million there. And Carolina is releasing running back Miles Sanders.
It's just, man, I don't know how New Orleans can spend any money on anybody, right? And I get, the cap is fake. Well, eventually the bill comes due. Spot Track tweeted out about that yesterday. They keep pushing money into the future on Derek Carr's deal. Basically, he is locked in as their starter this year. But, hey, that's not our concern. The Jags are certainly not up against it. They've got the flexibility to go do more if they choose to.
Yeah.
Here's one, Tone. I'm looking at some of these, and I'm going through the safety list. Now I'm fixated with the fact that Eric Thomas came in at number 40 among available safeties. Not safeties in the NFL, available safeties on this list. And it's just one opinion, right? So it doesn't mean it's gospel. But like Justin Reed, okay, we got Thomas for 3 years, 22.5, I think, right? Justin Reed goes 3 years, 31.5. He is such a good player. Such a good player. He signed with the Saints, right? And left the Kansas City Chiefs. So who's closer to contending, the Saints or the Jaguars? I think the Jags are, but whatever. I mean, neither one of them is like, you're not chasing a ring necessarily by signing with either one this offseason. That might not be your mindset. I mean, I would just so much prefer to spend the extra $10 million bucks. Even if, okay, we don't have De'Ami Brown. Rip that one up, $10 million. And but some of these guys, as you go through, like number 6 safety available, Xavier Woods, who signed a deal yesterday to play with Tennessee. Played well in the past, didn't cover very well last year, okay? Age-based regression. There are a lot of that. Played well against the run, couldn't cover anybody last year. This guy slowed down. This guy's coming off injury. So there's a bunch of that. And even with all that,
Thomas was just considered like roster filler, and the way Bill Barnwell described it, he looks at him like as a Jags third safety. I think he's got to be a starter for this team right now, which brings us to the needs that assuming all 9 guys sign at the dotted line today. Okay, doesn't mean we necessarily draft according strictly to these needs, but what do we see the 3 biggest needs remaining on this roster right now? Why don't we answer it with today's 10-10 take?
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take is serviced by Ideal Conditions Heating and Air, your go-to local HVAC company, veteran owned and operated.
Again, like, I don't have offensive line on my list right now. Doesn't mean I wouldn't draft multiple offensive linemen still, right? But, like, you feel now, okay, you know who your opening day center and right guard, you know who your 5 are likely to be. Now, if you spend the 5th pick on a lineman, I would expect that guy to force his way into the lineup at some spot. But, again, I don't think that's the biggest need that they have right now. For me, and I'm not listing these in any particular order, safety has been, to me, the biggest need all off season, and Eric Thomas may fill in capably at one of those spots. I'm not convinced that they've got both starting safeties on this roster right now. I'm not convinced he's going to play well. So I think that's still a big one for me. Even with the addition of De'Ami Brown, I think that guy who can grow in, as D-Rock said, maybe they draft a guy who by 2026 becomes that number 2 wide receiver. I definitely think that opportunity is there based on the way the roster is put together. And I think specifically run-stuffing defensive tackle, right? Like, I'm not opposed to if Mason Graham is their pick and they decide that that's the best use of pick number 5, I can get on board with that. But I think of him more that what he brings to the table is his ability to penetrate and collapse the pocket and get after quarterbacks, which is important. But I feel like with Eric Armstead moving back inside, and we've got Mason Smith, I want to find out what we've got in him. I think the run-stuffing nose tackle type is more of a hole for this team. There are other ones, there are other holes, but I won't try to steal anybody's thunder. What do you got for your top 3?
I got wide receiver at number 1,
okay.
And that's a reflection of who is the number 2 on this team right now?
Right. Parker, Davis, Brown.
Like, I know who the number 1 is. It would be nice to have some kind of clarity exactly what that's going to look like, and we'll see if they figure something out with that at some point here in this offseason. I think edge depth, talking about, the addition of defensive tackle, nose tackle type, I think edge depth is a big deal.
Yep.
And it's been a big deal here in Jacksonville. What is this, year number 15? Looking for a third
Feels like.
Sure, here in town. But they know who the top guys on the depth chart are. We know. We've done the building blocks thing. Those guys are 1-2 on building blocks on defense for this football team right now. But there is nothing on the roster that gives them any kind of punch ever if one of those guys has to be off the field. It's the edge. They're going to have to be off the field for 20% of the snaps minimum. Basically, that's the way it works in the National Football League, so you have to find something at that spot, and I would add safety just because it's really – I am less concerned about safety probably than you are, just because I'm generally less concerned about safeties than I am virtually anything else on a football team, but – there is a wide open spot as to, I don't even know, if they had to name 2 starters right now, I don't even know what the names would be, necessarily for the football team. So obviously, I don't feel like they addressed it in any real significant way here this week to this point, but I'm okay with that not being all that significant of something to address for the football team. But it's still, if they were open 3 days ago, they're still open for business now.
Yeah, I understand, like, your hierarchy of the importance of the different positions, right? It's like punter, we love Logan Cook, but if you didn't have Logan Cook, if he retired today,
wouldn't even consider him on a list.
But it would be a hole, right?
Like,
it wouldn't be necessarily a priority, but it would be a hole.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to pick, something down at the end of the line. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have it, it's clearly a hole. I think third edge rusher is definitely a good one. Dylan, what do you see the top 3 positional needs as of this moment for the Jags?
Safety at 1, D tackle at 2, and then I'll put edge at number 3. You got to find somebody else at the edge.
So all in the ballpark. Somebody else put running back out there. I don't have an issue with that. Maybe not for the ability to play right now in 2025, but Travis Etienne's going to be playing on that 5th-year option. He regressed last year. Tank Bigsby.
Hold on to the ball, Tank.
Right. I mean, he's had issues with ball security. I think he's a promising player. I don't look at either one of these guys and say that's a definite bell cow. Doesn't mean you have to have a an 80% of the snaps bell cow, but I think there's absolutely an opportunity.
Sure.
How would you feel right now? And again, there's still more work to be done in free agency. There could be trades that flesh out this roster. What if they did either after a short trade back, which I think is becoming less and less likely as these teams fill their quarterback positions in, what if they did go with an Ashton Genty? How would you feel about that?
It's a weird one for me. I do think I understand. It was like when the Raiders took Bowers last year in the first round. That's a weird one to me. It's not because I question the player or the draft positioning of where he wound up coming off the board. It's to a team specifically that's not ready to compete right now. And I think at running back specifically, because of the perceived shelf life on those guys, if you're going to spend a premium pick like that at that position, I think you'd be sending a signal that we feel like we are. Like the comments that we think we're closer to being competitive than the record last year indicates we are. I think them being willing to take a Genty would be a big flashing banner of we're ready to go, right? Like I think I would have to perceive it that way. I'm not in that headspace with the football team, so I'm not totally on board with the Genty thing, but I think it would be an indication of where they think the team is.
Yeah, I don't it would be down my list of priorities, right? At that spot, like I always have them mocked taking a running back, but not anywhere near the first few rounds. At least that hasn't been. I think I've probably taken Scatabo in the late third on some of those early mocks. But you can look at it this way. And this is just, again, we don't know what their discussions are like behind closed doors. Yes, you want to build the line of scrimmage, right? But why are you trying to build out this running game? To help your quarterback, right? To get a better unit up front that can block for you, but to also be able to impose your will on the ground when the circumstance calls for it. You've added a couple of blocking tight ends. Brenton Strange already excellent in that category. So you've got, the myriad of formations, run formations you could put together. And if you felt like, hey, you know what, this is not just a running back. This is a special one. This is a Saquon or a Bijan or one of these guys or a Christian McCaffrey. And granted, we took Leonard Fournette ahead of Christian McCaffrey, right? Just because you're taking one of the top 10 doesn't mean he's going to have that kind of staying power. But if you felt that way, like this guy is too good, like if you had, and we talked about it last year, people were like, we should have gone after Saquon. I thought it was redundant. And in hindsight, I look kind of like an idiot because look how good we know Saquon is. But would he have been that good here? I don't think he would have. But with an improved offensive line, if you feel like Genty can have that kind of an impact, maybe not Saquon of 2024 impact because that's rarefied air, right? But a 1,500-yard guy right out of the gates, I mean, what much more could you do other than drafting a premier receiver? And I think among their position groups, Genty is going to be graded out higher than Ted McMillan will be. If you know what I'm saying. I mean, McMillan may be the clear-cut number one for a lot of people at wide receiver, but I think just the overall grade compared to years past, he would fall down the ranks where you get the feeling Genty would be in the conversation with these other truly elite backs that have come out of college in recent years.
Sure.
So, anyway, I didn't have him mocked to the Jags.
Yeah, I don't think it's crazy that they could wind up
I'm open for a little crazy, by the way. Look, you're either buying it or you're not, and that doesn't mean we can't critique along the way, but I mean, we wanted different. We wanted new. We wanted new thoughts and insights and approaches, and we're getting it now, so you've got to be open to them doing things maybe not the path that you were going to take and having it still end up where we all want to get to, which is in pursuit of a championship in Jacksonville. All right, we'll tell you exactly which players they need to draft to do that. I did 2 mocks yesterday. I felt the first one wasn't realistic enough.
Okay.
Because I got some trade back offers that I didn't think would be there, right? So I did a second one. That's the one I'm going to go with. No trades whatsoever. Just
no trades for me either.
No trades. Dylan, any trades this time around for you?
No, sir.
All right, so no trade mocking today. And we'll look at some of the ones that you've submitted as well, primarily on the text line or on the X platform. Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith out at Sawgrass, still in Denmark at World Headquarters. Jaguars Today rolls on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, it is Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. You know what? My view is crystal clear right now. It's almost like I'm looking through a Pella window, which I have at my house, looking over my own little golf course there in St. Augustine. And you know what? I went with the absolute best in the industry. It was time for me to upgrade my home a little bit, replace all my windows. Maybe you just have a broken window. Maybe you want to put in a new door. Pella Windows and Doors will get the job done. Consumer Reports, top choice in all the major window categories. Online, very convenient at PellaJacks.com. You can swing by their showroom on Phillips Highway just north of Bay Meadows for quality you can trust and savings you can't miss. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
Jaguars Today. You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service. Making radio in Jacksonville more fun.
All of Jumanji, thanks.
Because you can use a little more fun in your day. 1010XL, Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror, fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. Are you tired of wrestling with your old shower curtain? Then say goodbye to the curtain chaos and hello to a new frameless shower enclosure. Wago Glass is clear, classy, and won't stick to you like a toddler at bedtime. Plus, it makes your bathroom look bigger and brighter. Upgrade your shower experience and step into style. Call me at Baker Glass and get ready to love your new glass shower enclosure. Baker Glass, no one treats you better.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
There's a lot on the line in a divorce. Your home, savings, maybe even your kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce and the unexpected directions it can take, you need a partner you can count on. I'm Rick Julius, a partner at Cordell & Cordell. Don't let divorce take more than it has to.
Offices in Jacksonville. Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's attorneys. Lisa Cargis, Florida resident partner. Rick Julius, licensed in Pennsylvania only. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services, making it easy for you to work with one trusted company and one simple build. Every department has highly skilled experts trained for the job. For fast, reliable service from a company that does it all the right way, call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com.
Who's new? Get to know who and why they're a good fit on the First Coast.
This man right here does whatever it takes.
Free agency profiles are covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. Roll through the offseason with AA Automotive and 1010XL.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here. In the past 10 years, the weight loss industry has seen it all. New medications, fad diets, sculpting, and still, Awaken 180 continues to stand alone as the proven solution for weight loss. Online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here. We've talked about some of the struggles that you may come across when it comes time to sell your home. We've told you how great Chad and Sandy are at chadandsandy.com. But you know, they're also great when things are going good and the economy is showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want. It's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who eat and sleep local real estate. Call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Chad and Sandy can do that. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Well, let's take care of that right now because here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline or they will buy it. Jonathan in Mount Pleasant said the only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my Mount Pleasant home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results in just 3 days. Multiple offers, full asking price. You can get it too. Call today or go to ChadAndSandy.com.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the 2024 Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards. And it's easy to see why. I go to the branch off 210 in St. Johns County and the new Durbin location, but they have 10 branches in the Jacksonville area. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
The First Tee Tour Card is back for 2025 and better than ever, with access to over 15 of North Florida's best courses and new this year, local participating businesses. This card is your ticket to saving hundreds. First Tee North Florida is a local nonprofit who build character in youth participants through the game of golf. This annual fundraiser enables this amazing organization the ability to build game changers. Grab your tour card for just $99 at tourcard.org for a list of participating partners, benefits, and restrictions.
New and pre-owned firearms are always in stock at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach. Want a new sidearm or rifle? Brands like Kimbar, Smith & Wesson, Sig Sauer, and Beretta. No lines, no hassle. Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
Need fresh and flavorful lunch? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad in every bite. It's quick and delicious, so why wait? Come taste the best chicken salad today at Town Center, Durbin Park, or Butler Point at Chicken Salad Chick.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, I don't know. Tony Smith walked off. He disappeared. He might have followed the guy who just came up to me, Dylan, and said, "Hey, where's Big Sirs? Tell him to come by 18. I got a burger waiting for him over there." I'm like the main cook over on this little food setup over on 18. And I'm like, what about your boy right here, man? I mean, I did not play tackle for the Jacksonville Jaguars, but nevertheless, Sirs & Company going to be out here, of course, this afternoon as we're broadcasting live all day long. We'll have tons of tournament updates for you live throughout the show, keeping you posted on the leaderboard. So, you know, if you're taking a little Jaguar discussion in the morning, maybe coming out in the afternoon, particularly on Friday, keep it locked right here on 1010XL. You'll know everything that's going on, not only on the golf front, obviously, but the Jaguar free agency front as well. So, Tony, I guess will rejoin us when he wolfs down that burger, if that's what he's doing. Honestly, I took my eye off him, Dylan, and he disappeared, and, we'll worry about it when he makes his way back.
He's a little kid.
Well, Tony's a grown-ass man. He can handle his business. I see him now making his way across the lawn. But why don't we get into this week's iteration of our mock drafts, knocking out 7 rounds of mocking over at ProFootballNetwork.com. Just click on the free mock draft simulator. You can play along. I got several of them sent to me today, so I will try to highlight a few of the interesting ones there. Before we get to that, just a note, Dylan passing this one along to me. The Titans have signed offensive lineman and former Jaguar Blake Hance. He gets 1 year, $1.327 million, and it reunites him with Bill Callahan from their Browns days. So there you have it. And there he is, Aaron Wilson, citing his agent, Blake Hance's agent, because that's the thing now. You got to put the agents in your tweet, Tony. Tony, your autograph is requested on that page right there when you get a moment. So just letting you know. I don't know if it's any kind of collection agency. So I did not ask for identification.
That'd be a shame if it was.
I feel like I just spit half of my drink onto the table. You ever do that? You're talking, like say it, don't spray it kind of moment right there. I felt like that was like a cascade of saliva that just came out of me. So hopefully you're watching on the YouTube channel and you got to see that as well as experience it live on the radio. Denmark, why don't you save us by telling us what you put together for this week's Jaguar mock draft?
All right, with the free agent signings, my draft did not change at all. However, my first-round pick, I went with Will Campbell. I had to pick between him and Travis Hunter. I went Will Campbell just to be different. If Travis Hunter was available, I'm going to take him. But I haven't picked Will Campbell yet in any of these mocks.
Okay.
The tackle from LSU at 5. Again, no trades in this mock.
What is your vision for what he plays initially and long-term for this team?
Initially, it'd be to play inside a guard. And then hopefully over time he can move it back to tackle after.
So who is he moving out of the starting lineup, or is it just bringing him in open competition with McCarry and Ezra Cleveland and okay?
So Will Campbell won. Second round, 36, got Kenneth Grant, the D tackle from Michigan. Number 70, the corner from Ohio State, Denzel Burke. At 88, got the tight end from Texas, Gunnar Helm. 106, I got the edge from Louisville, Ashton Gillette. Is that how you say his last name?
Gillette.
Gillette. Okay.
Yes.
I'd say Gillette. It's a silent O.
Gelato.
Yeah. 125, I got the slow receiver, ran at the combine, Ricky White from UNLV, ran a 4.61, so he'll probably drop in the draft.
Can't have enough slow receivers,
no,
right?
You can't. 143, Sebastian Castro, the safety out of Iowa.
I like him, man. Do you worry about his size at all, guys?
He is a little short.
Right? Just a little bit.
6'1".
All right. No, he's like 5'11", I think. I think Castro is. Anyway, go ahead.
184, Riley Mills, the D tackle at Notre Dame. 196. Had Jordan James, a running back from Oregon, and 223 went with the Gator, Jason Marshall Jr., who's at corner.
I've been taking him at 223 a bunch. I did not this time around, Tony. I feel like Dylan is cheating off me with my Jason Marshall obligatory Gator selection. I kid. I think we might have had, I don't know if we had any the same this week. So, Tony, lay it out for us. What do you got?
1-5, wound up going with Mason Graham again.
Okay.
As we've discussed, I'm very comfortable with him in that spot. Nothing that has happened in the last couple of days has affected my interest in him being the pick there 5 at all. I think for some people it may raise the interest level for Graham there at number 5, but certainly doesn't lower it for me based on what we've seen him do. The Jaguars do here for the last couple of days. Then in the second round at 36, offensive lineman Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. I'm not at all hopeful that I'll be there at 36 necessarily, but if he was, I'd be very happy with it. So wound up going with Zabel there in the second round. Third round at 3, I got the first pick there, Alec Aomanor, the wide receiver out of Stanford, described as a man beater. Should see plenty of that if you're playing opposite Brian Thomas Jr. In that spot. Then at 88, safety Lathan Ransom out of Ohio State, strong safety type, more so than free safety, but all the intangibles you could ask for in a player at that position.
Intangibly rich.
That's right. In the fourth round at 106, running back Cam Scatabo out of Arizona State. We've talked plenty about him. The second, fourth round pick there, edge Antoine Powell-Ryland out of Virginia Tech. The third edge kind of filling that spot right now. I'm still curious if they do something at that in free agency. I don't think it's done necessarily that they add a body, at that spot. But for now, I have him penciled in there in the fourth round. Fifth round at 143, went with quarterback Mello Dotson out of Kansas. Sixth round at 184, linebacker Jack Kaiser out of Notre Dame. This is 2 weeks in a row I've gone with somebody that's basically 25 coming into the league somewhere in the Jaguars
ready
draft.
to play, Tone.
They're at the second, sixth round pick, the 196, offensive tackle Jack Nelson out of Wisconsin, and then the final pick, cornerback B.J. Adams out of Central Florida.
All right. I feel like mine is a little bit of the greatest hits of what I've been doing in mocks, but I do have one guy that I haven't selected before. The first one I got an offer from the Jets to move back a couple of spots.
Okay.
And so Shedeur Sanders was on the board. I understand they signed Justin Fields, but you can look at that as a 1-year, $30 million investment, and they might still have interest. So I looked to see, okay, if I take this deal, who did they end up taking? And they were coming up to trade for Armand Membo. Okay, when Will Campbell was on the board, and I'm like, I don't think this is super realistic, right? So I trashed it, threw away Will Campbell, who I got at 7, and the extra picks that came along with it. So here's what I did. Second one, I started it up. Campbell actually went in the top 4, and Travis Hunter was sitting there for me. And in this scenario, that is my long-term wide receiver, too. That's how I'm looking at him. Yeah. Maybe they'd look at him as a corner, but I think that talent, the Blitnikoff Award winner, obviously can get it done.
Be good with that.
I went with Gray Zabel as well at 36, and I'm of the mind that he might be there. It's certainly right close to the range of where he's going to come on. And I like him. He is coming from a small school. And because of the guys that they signed, he doesn't have to step into that starting role right away. It's going to be, look, it's a big adjustment to go for him to the Senior Bowl from North Dakota State.
Yeah.
It's a huge jump to go to the National Football League. So here's a guy over the next couple of years going to compete at guard, going to compete at center. And whenever he's ready to take one of those spots, have at it. But you don't have the necessity to shove him in right away. I really like that scenario, the way they've set it up, if they were able to get Gray Zabel.
I do wonder with a player like that specifically, because he doesn't have a home, right? Like coming into the league, he doesn't have a home, but he's flexible enough to play, do a bunch of different things. I wonder if that makes him more likely, that some team jumps into the bottom of the first round to have that extra year of flexibility with a guy, especially coming from that school,
it's
smaller
possible.
school, like that kind of thing.
Well, maybe to be the Jags.
Right, like I'm not saying it's impossible that he's available there in the second round, but I do wonder the math on that being added to it. Does whatever team wants to bring him in think the fifth year is that much more valuable with that specific player?
Maybe it's the Jags moving up 5 or 6 spots. You never know.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, I went Hunter Zabel, then I went Alfred Collins. Massive defensive tackle out of Texas, run stuffer, and that's the kind of defensive tackle I'm personally looking for here, or at least as high on my priority list. Jared Ivey, the edge out of Ole Miss. They say he doesn't give you a whole lot against the run. I don't care. He's in there on third down, obvious pass rush situations to bolster what we've got here in Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker. Dorian Strong, cornerback out of Virginia Tech with pick 106. This is the guy I look at. Strong, come in, compete with Jarian Jones, right there in the mix. If you can prove that you're ready to start right away, great. But he's got length, can profile as a long-term outside corner for you there. 4
or 5 corners are getting significant snaps every week anyway.
Big time, right? So Malachi Moore at safety, because I still want some safety help. The one guy I hadn't taken yet is Raheem Sanders out of South Carolina, the running back. 6 feet, 217. That's a big boy at running back. Tall guy, anyway. Injuries, they say, sapped a little bit of his top gear, but he still breaks off chunk plays, one of the most impressive receiving backs in the class. In fact, so much so that South Carolina aligned him outside an empty set sometimes. So that's the running back I went with this week. Then I had Aeneas Peoples, who's more of a pass rush, 3-technique type defensive tackle at pick 184. Luke Lachey out of Iowa, because I still think I can add a receiving component to the tight end room, and that's more what the kind of tight end he is. And then Brandon Crenshaw-Dixon is my 7th-round Gator this time around. Who, like, at 223, I don't know. Like, you look at PFF, they rank him somewhere like around 130 among all prospects. He's a massive, massive offensive lineman, but he commits a ton of penalties. And I look at this guy right to the practice squad year one, try to develop him, maybe have some long-term swing tackle ability in there.
The 7th-round Gator thing is never not going to make me chuckle, given that I know you're a Florida State fan, but I also know how little any of that matters.
I don't care, man. I mean, look,
draft.
I'll take 10 Gators if I think they're all going to help this football
team. And all
team.
the times both of us have been accused of being Georgia homers. Like, it's insane the things people get in their heads.
All right. Mocks in the books for us. We'll take a peek at a few of yours and some of your responses to today's question of the day when we return for our final segment, Setting Up Helmets and Heels, straight ahead on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL, where electrifying moments come to life.
Inside of a minute to play.
And legendary performances live.
A monumental milestone in a legendary career.
1010XL, the power of Jacksonville Sports Radio.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Enhance your home with Renewal by Anderson's exclusive 31-day spring event. Experience superior craftsmanship and timeless design with buy one, get one 40% off custom replacement windows and patio doors. Enjoy the ease of 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires March 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Real estate isn't just a job, it's a commitment. With Paige Covington, you get a dedicated partner who's available day or night because buying or selling a home doesn't follow a schedule. Your needs come first. Whether it's finding the perfect home or selling for top dollar, Paige Covington goes the extra mile every time. Meet Paige Covington with England Volkers at String Sports Brewery on Pittman Road in Jacks Beach, Friday, March 21st from 4 to 6 for Madness with the Frangie Show. PaigeCovington.evrealestate.com.
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents. Look no further, though, than I-9 Sports, covering Duval, St. John's, and Clay to get your youngster in the game. Spring and summer registration open right now for flag football, soccer, t-ball, and basketball. Plus, all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. I-9 Sports with fields and gyms all over 3 counties. And the best thing is I-9 Sports offers sports year-round so kids can always find a sport to play. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
Hi, it's Rick Ballou. I hope you'll join me and some former NFL players for an incredible event at the end of March, the Lone Warrior Foundation 2025 Champions of Hope Charity Golf and Tennis Challenge. March 31st at Marsh Landing will support single-parent families in their fight against cancer. An opportunity to win sensational prizes, but more importantly, we will bring meaningful hope and support to the lives of families affected. To sign up, go to LoneWarriorFoundation.com. That's LoneWarriorFoundation.com.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we got to bring my thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reach Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com.
Youth sports at the YMCA's focus on teamwork, discipline, and building confidence. Our experienced coaches can create a positive and supportive environment where your kids can grow, stay active, and develop a love for sports. Sports like basketball, volleyball, swimming, gymnastics, and even elite skills training. Join the fun and register. Give your kids a chance to be a part of something special. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, buddy, you look worried.
Worried? I'm apoplectic!
You're what now?
I'm freaking out, Jason. Stupid water heater crapped out, so I haven't showered since Thursday. I start smelling a little funky, blow my big corporate job interview tomorrow, I'll end up settling for some dead-end career selling spatulas on the internet.
Dude, stay cool.
There's nothing cool about a cold shower, Jason. I mean, I know how that sounds, but...
Bueller Air and Plumbing can get a new water heater installed today. The day you call. You could be smelling fresh again by dinner time.
Wait, you can do that?
Put on these sunglasses. Whoa. Is that cooler?
Oh, yeah.
Well, life moves pretty fast. If you spend much more time smelling like this, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and there's so many cool products that are on the line at Cycles of Jacksonville. Showroom is Atlantic and Regency, and we're talking, Greg, you've got from any level of price point, the experienced rider to the inexperienced on-road, off-road.
We've got it. We've got ATVs, we've got motorcycles, we've got scooters, we even have the new Honda boats. We've got something for everyone.
Don't forget about the boat line from Honda. It's all right there, waiting for you. Atlantic and Regency or Cycles of Jacksonville's Facebook page.
Baseball is back. Don't miss this year's Florida State baseball game, Tuesday, March 25th at VyStar Ballpark at 6 p.m. This can't-miss event sells out quickly, so buy your tickets today to get the best seats possible. It's Florida State on the diamond at VyStar Ballpark, Tuesday, March 25th. Get your tickets at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com. We'll see you at the ballpark.
Hi, this is Dave Barker. Multi-unit hair grafting is now available at IHRS and can give you 3 times more hair in one procedure over a traditional hair transplant.
Multi-unit hair grafting gave me more hair in one procedure and within my budget.
You can grow your hair back with this exclusive new procedure. Call for a free evaluation. Call IHRS 904-777-IHRS 777-IHRS 777-4477.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, so on the text line, Tony, Gator Jonathan Grenard, the 70th pick, has way more sacks than Billie Jean Hutchinson. Is this a nickname for Aiden Hutchinson that I'm not aware of?
Talking about the Hard Knocks
taking
bit.
their shots. Yeah.
Is that okay? I'm unaware of that. And he's always available, not injured 2 of the past 5 years. Well, let's compare apples to apples. Jonathan Grenard's been in the league for 5 years now. Okay, so in his 4th and 5th seasons, he had 12.5 and 12 sacks. Very good. His first 3 years, he combined for 10.5. Aiden Hutchinson in 3 years, including one that was cut short after 6 games, has 28.5. I don't think these two things. Yeah. Jonathan Grenard's a very good player, but there's not a GM in the National Football League that's taking him over Aiden Hutchinson. Come on.
It's becoming the new kind of J.J. Watt thing.
Let's trash Aiden Hutchinson.
Right. Like, there's just this specific hate for this guy because of the Jaguar. He's in the neighborhood of Jaguars hate, So Jaguars fans are always going to bring up whatever they can to knock down Aiden Hutchinson. You're just wrong, right? Like, the current career trajectory for this guy could be Hall of Famer. Like, that's how he's starting his career. We'll see if he's able to maintain that kind of thing, but he just is. I don't know why people have to pretend like it's not in that kind of department for Aiden Hutchinson. He is the quality player that he is. He's the better player than Trayvon Walker to this point in those two players' career. We'll see how it plays out, but to this point, yeah, you'd be crazy not to take Aiden Hutchinson over Trayvon Walker. Walker's a good player. No doubt about that, and he's gotten better, especially the last couple of years, but he hadn't played the Aiden level thing yet.
No, and so be it. I thought that was kind of weird, like cherry picking a little bit. Yes, the last 2 years have been outstanding.
Yeah.
He's had 24.5 sacks the last 2 years.
He's a really good player.
Very good, Jonathan Grenard. Absolutely. Commissioner Duval texted in and said he's fallen in love with Jahad Campbell, the linebacker out of Alabama, in rounds 2 to 3. You probably have to get him in 2. I think maybe tomorrow we'll maybe in either the first 2 picks, or I don't know, maybe extending, because you get to the third and picks are not as extreme. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, okay, if you take something you're not expecting, we've got 2 third-round picks, it's not as crazy. If you're taking something you're not expecting with a top 40 pick, maybe we'll ask tomorrow, who is the outside-the-box player that you're thinking about for either pick 5 or 36? Because I did see him in a mock, Jahad Campbell, to the Jags last week. Can't remember what the source was. And it just made me think, I wonder, we don't know what they think about Devin Lloyd.
No.
And other than Foye, what is your long-term future at the position? Is Chad Muma a part of that? I have no idea, right? I mean, is it that out of the realm of possibility, something they didn't touch in free agency, that if they think this guy's just the best guy on the board, that they go that way? And I started thinking about, it's not something that we have talked a lot about or that I would probably do. I mean, I don't think I've drafted a linebacker throughout this entire process, maybe in the 7th as like a special teams guy. So maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Kind of look outside the box, think outside the box a little bit. Here are a couple. I'll go through the first 4 picks in each and just highlight some of these because we don't have time to get everything. This is from the text line. Abdul Carter falls to 5. So the Jags take him. They take Gray Zabel, the tackle at 36, so we're in good company there. Benjamin Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame, would pick 70. Wyatt Milam, who seems to have, I don't know why, he was going from like the 35 to 50 range, and now you start to see him slide back in mocks. I don't know why that is. Maybe people are getting the word on him a little bit. They also went another a D tackle and Deion Walker, who's a massive guy. Couple of wide receivers late, another corner, a center, and Jared Wilson. Well, I don't know if you get Jared Wilson at pick 125. That he seems to be the clear best center in the draft. But I would like this draft a bunch if the Jags were able to pull it off. Malachi Starks after a trade back to 18. For this one, Kenneth Grant, Michigan defensive tackle at 36. Gosh, my eyes are so bad. Ariante Urzuri, the offensive tackle out of Minnesota, and then Jonah, the big guy whose name I can't say, Savanaya, right?
Say so, yeah.
Another offensive lineman out of Arizona, Isaiah Bond. Somebody got paid off because I'm looking at all these picks in that mid-round range, and the Jags have a lot more in this one based on a trade back with Seattle. Seattle, if you do these mocks, you'll always get offers from Seattle. I'm not sure if they were thinking they were going to want to come up to get a quarterback or what the case would be, but the money they paid Darnold, I don't see them making a big swing to move up the draft board to get Shedeur Sanders at this point in time. I did have this from, if I can find it, from Chris Giano, sent this in. Things are updated now because you've got the compensatory picks that are factored in. So the Jags selections have been tweaked a little bit. Like picks 106 and 125 are now 107 and 126. It's one spot difference, but you never know, right? All it takes sometimes is one. 184 went up to 182. Okay. 196 went up to 194. 223 is now 221, and I think 143 went to 142. This is according to Chris Giano, who is our official South American producer of Jaguars Today. Whatever you see as the official numbers may change in some of these in the next few days, and now that's the reason why, because the compensatory picks were laid out there. All right, what else did we have today? Question of the day. We already went through our options here. We asked people based on where things stand at this very moment. What are the three biggest needs for the Jags? Rob goes wide receiver, defensive line, and O-line. That's pretty all-encompassing when you go offensive line and defensive line, but that's fine. Safety, interior D-line, and a toss-up between wide receiver and tight end. For Scott, Cristiano goes designated pass rusher, wide receiver, and defensive back. Again, getting a little broad with defensive back there. You're cheating, Cristiano, flat-out cheating. Safety, edge, and big-bodied possession receiver, like Pat Bryant, said Odie. And then he showed us how much that was the case by taking Pat Bryant out of Illinois with pick 88 in the mock. Here's the one I don't get in Odie's mock draft. He goes, Nick Emenwari, okay, after move back to 7. Okay, that's a little bit high, but whatever. He blew out the combine. Goes Omari and Hampton at 36. So we're getting a little bit on the fringes, but still okay. Best player available. Pick 42, which they acquired in that trade with the Jets, Jalen Milroe. Like, what? The Jags are could they draft a quarterback late in this draft? Absolutely. Yeah. Right? Developmental third guy, always looking to continue the pipeline, but
it's going to be day 3. Late.
Absolutely. Nick Mullins is your backup. They're not drafting the, quote, quarterback of the future. It's way too much to invest in Jalen Milroe, who, like others before him, as the questions come up, where would you draft him as a running back, right? Because he's, unlike Lamar Jackson was a pretty good passer in college. It never made a whole lot of sense to see how he dominated running and throwing the football that you'd consider a position switch for him. Bill Polian famously said he'd probably play wide receiver or something like that. And I don't see Milroe. He's a great runner. Yeah. There's no question about it. And he does need a lot of work. That to me is a big investment at pick 42. Like, I can almost see the Jets going that way because you could find some similarities between him and Justin Fields and trying to develop an offense that fits those guys. But going to have to disagree with our man, Odie.
Yeah, I don't think so on that particular range with that. You mentioned one of those just a moment ago that had, tight end among the 3, and I already had safety in my list, and you and I have talked about those 2 positions over the years.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you have a pretty good idea of how I feel about this, but they are the bottom of the list of priority positions for me, and I could not. If I was going to have safety on the list, which I don't think is unreasonable to have, there is no way I could put safety and tight end on a list of positions of need for one foot. I just can't do it given how I feel about the priority that needs to be put on safeties and tight ends in this league. They're okay enough at tight end with Brenton Strange being the starter that they're fine with the room that they have right now. Not that they won't add anything else to it, but it would be not on a list of 10 priorities for me for this
It would be a top priority, but I would like to see more of a pass-catching oriented tight end on day 3.
That's fine.
For this football team.
That's fine. Yeah, but it would be day 3.
Yeah, and that's okay.
Which is why it would be at 9 or 10 on my list of priorities for the football team.
Some people think they should consider Tyler Warren out of Penn State with their first pick in the draft, or after a small trade down.
I'd be much more in line with the Genty thought than I would Warren. For me personally.
At this moment, I probably would as well.
Yeah.
And I'm not really in line with either, but, we'll find out what the Brain Trust thinks. All right, we are done for the day, so let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, Mia O'Brien is here with us once again on the green microphone, which I just turned up the volume of.
Beautiful.
How about
Good.
that?
I mean, I figured
Tony's giving me hand signals like that.
I figured my sonorous voice would be picked up on both of your microphones anyways, so I figured it didn't matter which headset that I put on. So how we doing?
We're very well. How are you?
I'm great.
Everything good? It's gorgeous out again.
Yeah.
I figured they figured they couldn't improve on the weather, so they just ran it back.
Yep, and I think they're going to run it back all week long. I think, knock on all the wood you can find, let's manifest it. The slight chance of rain tomorrow, it looks like that has diminished, and we're going to have beautiful weather throughout the Players' Championship.
All right, so what will the Helmets and Heels crew be delving into today?
We are expecting, and of course, when we're expecting, of course, that means there's a lot of moving parts. A whole slew of guests today. Of course, our friend Miranda Rossum from the Players' Championship scheduled to join us around 12:30. Dan Rappaport, for those of you who are Full Swing fans on Netflix, of course, was formerly with Barstool Golf. Scratch now is who he is with now as an online entity. He's going to join us at 1 o'clock. I have touched base. I have made contact with a certain all-pro, Pro Bowl long snapper who may be joining the program depending on his schedule during the 12 o'clock hour. And so just a loaded show. And, of course, we'll recap everything we've seen so far through it will be 48 hours on the dot of the legal negotiating window.
I bet if you gave me 3 guesses, I could figure out who that long snapper is, but I'd probably take all 3.
There aren't many of them in this world.
That fit
or
that
here
description where they're all pros, right? Exactly,
yes.
And that are likely to be hanging out at the Players. Mia, have a great show.
Thank you.
Today. All right, Helmets and Heels coming your way for the next couple of hours, and then on with XL Primetime, the Franchise Show, and on into the afternoon, 4 o'clock, the official opening of the NFL League year. Thanks to Mike DeRocco for joining us. We'll be out here live again tomorrow, maybe with a few guests along the way. Next couple of days, they're telling us they may bring us some former Players Champions to stop by, so there's going to be a little golf talk potentially on Jaguars Today, so I'm sure we'll hear wonderful things on the text line about that. All right, for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around. Helmets and Heels coming up next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.